An installed mic inside my throat, so it projects very well, I think. How's everyone doing? So very quickly, I know that when we were in high school, sitting in the back was like the thing to do, and I've literally been pleading and begging for everyone to fill the first few rows, and they don't want to. I don't know how to ask politely to say, please can you fill the rows, primarily because when people are coming in, we're live, so we don't want a situation where as they are coming in, there's a bit of like movement. So if you can just fill the first few rows, and then as they come in, or at least from the second row, if you don't have to fill the front row, that's fine. From the second row, please, and then as people come in, they'll just fill the rows behind you, as opposed to having someone walk through the camera and then they distort everything that we're doing.
Thank you.
Right? Thank you so much. Much better. Again, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing today? It's Friday and you guys don't necessarily seem so excited to be in a creative environment and also to be like at the end of the week. Was it like a rough week? Was it a rough week? I know creatives grind a lot, so I know it might be a bit difficult, so I want to know, talk back to me, was it a rough week? It was a rough week? So that's why we decided to put this on a Friday, because we wanted to ease the roughness, because it's not easy to create, so that's why I said let's have it on Friday, let them come in, let's have, discussions and all of that, and then help them understand that it comes with the process, it's part of the game, right? So very quickly, for some of you guys that don't know me, my name is Inam. I am the head of programs and partnerships at Mswitch, and welcome to Mswitch. Clap for me. So I think very quickly what I like to do is I'm a firm believer that in order for a creative to be able to create, they need to have a community. And I was going to welcome you guys here by myself, but I don't want to do that because I also have a community. So I want to call my Mswitch team to come in here and officially welcome you guys to Mswitch. I hope that's fine. Where's my Mswitch family? Let's give them a round of applause. Clap for them, they're a bit shy. Clap for them as they come to the front. Where's my Mswitch family? They ran away. Yes, I did. Charities here, our players here. I just want them to come to the front end. We want you guys to know us. So if ever you guys have a need or you've got a concern or there's something that you want to do or you want to inquire or you want to shoot a music video, you don't have a thing where it's like we know enough. We want you to know all of us because we are here because of you, right? So I want them to come up to the front and we officially welcome you to Mswitch. And then I think I'll talk well, but yeah, I'll try and do that a bit better today. Can we have the Mswitch team come to the front, please? Why are you guys shy today?
They're shy. What's that? There's more.
Much more. Many more. So I think the others will come in, but this is Mswitch. I'll let them go one by one so you remember them. I'm going to ask you again so I know that you were listening. Because one of these days there might be something that you need, and because we are a team, you will have to liaise with someone directly, right? Someone. We'll start with a beautiful little cute lady at the front.
My name is
Hello everyone, my name is Jackson, the videographer, editor here.
I'm Anita, I'm the executive assistant to the chairman here.
I'm Inam, and I'm the head of programs and partnerships.
My name is Opai, head of productions.
My name is Wilson Churchill, branding and communications.
Hi guys, my name is Charish Yakuma. I'm the producer here.
Hello, good morning. My name is Micah and I'm in charge of communications and social media.
Everybody. My name is Deborah Ashley, the star of the team. My name is Deborah Ashley. I'm a growth hacker at Mswitch. Don't ask me what that is right now. And yes, what else do you guys say?
That's all. So like I said, we wanted as Mswitch to officially welcome you guys to Mswitch. This is where creatives come to unwind. This is where creatives come to create. This is where creatives come to stress. This is where they come to cry. This is where they come when they need solutions. We pride ourselves in giving creatives the actual solutions that they need. This could be a studio for you to record. This could be a space for your work to be edited. This could be a space for you to learn. We've got master classes as well. We've got sessions where we sit down with you guys and we guide you, give you a step-by-step guide as to what needs to be done in order for you to tap into your greatest potential. All of this is done by us. We are a family and we are your family. So welcome again to Mswitch. So very quickly, I know that it's a thing, but it's not supposed to be a thing where when people tend to be late, what do we call it? What do we call it? It's an unfortunate thing. We're in Africa, so I guess we are late the most when we are in our places of strength. So we were supposed to get started at 10 o'clock. Let me just very quickly apologize for our delay in time. But you are welcome again. Housekeeping rules very quickly. If you guys need to use the bathroom, just behind you over there, there's this really nice glass office that you saw. Just go straight through it. We've got the lavatory there. That's the guys, male and female bathroom. That'll be there. If you guys need any water, water is served for you guys right at the back. So please don't say you got here and you were so thirsty. We got water for you. Quench the thirst. We've got water in access, all right? We know it's hot, so we know that, things are taking place, so please. Beverages, if you like coffee like myself, coffee is also made available, tea is made available. So whatever it is that you feel like you need, please make yourself at home. It is an open house, you are home. Don't overeat though, but you are home, do the needful. So very quickly, one of the reasons why we put together this open house today, do you guys know the theme of the open house today? What's the theme of today's open house? Speak louder. Please, can I have a mic for the man? What's the theme of today's open house? Please, can we welcome our executive director? This is Zainab Salami. So the theme, so you guys just came today because it's an open house. You don't know why you're coming. That's a problem for me. So the theme for today's open house is intellectual property, royalties, and ownership. And one of the reasons why we put this together today was because we got to understand that, and as much as we've got so many creatives in Nigeria, many of them don't necessarily understand how they can put themselves in a position to own their stuff. So you guys are creating a lot of music and people find themselves borrowing your stuff and you cannot even fight a fight that makes sense. But there is a way in which these things can be done where tomorrow you release something, whether it is a movie, whether it is a snippet, whether it's a reel, whether it's a song, you own the song. Ownership is something that's very important in the creative space in Nigeria. How many of you guys know that when it comes to piracy, Nigeria is number one? You guys just be borrowing each other's stuff to one another. However, that would not be the case if you understood the fact that you can own your stuff. So these are some of the conversations that we got to understand that creatives were battling with: ownership, intellectual property, royalties. And these are some of the things that we want to discuss today. So I don't want to waste too much time. I don't know much about it, but the beautiful thing about this is we've got organizations that have put themselves in a position where they want to help you guys be able to understand these things and they want to make themselves accessible to you. Have you guys ever heard of an organization called WIPO? You have never heard of it? As creative as we are like this, we don't know WIPO. So WIPO is in the house today and they have a bit of a presentation that they want to make to you guys. And of course, the conversation, let's get it going. Intellectual property, ownership, royalties. Let's find out how as creatives we can tap into it and not neglect certain things that are important. So we've got a rep today from WIPO. Her name is Taiwo Itunu. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Make her feel at home. She's not here because she's here for you. So if she comes to the front, let's just please show her some love, appreciate her. Be, number 6, let our eyes and our ears be open to what it is that she wants to hear. Please don't be shy. If there are certain questions that you want, if you want to take notes, let us know. Take notes. Take in as much information as you can take in, and then we'll move it from there. It's going to be a very jam-packed day, a very full day, a very fruitful day with a lot of information and knowledge that I personally feel like after the end of the day today, you will take away, and it will be a good one for you, right? So can we just welcome her to the front very quickly? Are you ready? Okay, we just want to mic her up, so just bear with us as we mic her up, right? But let's give her a round of applause again.
But I'm happy to be here. It's really great to be. I feel very weird. I shouldn't be standing because then it just means like I'm looking over everybody's head. We're really just going to talk. Okay, so I know IP sounds like we're going to talk about something extremely technical. It's really just a conversation. Okay, I hope this is fine. Yes, video guys.
This one is
Am I blocking somebody? Thank you very much. Okay, this is much better. Thank you. Oh, fantastic. Again, just as it was introduced, my name is Taiwo. My name is Taiwo Farah. So there was my middle name is Itunu, and for some reason, WIPO seems to like my middle name, so they call me the full thing, and I keep insisting, you don't have to call the full thing. It's Taiwo. In fact, I had shortened Taiwo to 3 letters. So I introduce myself often as Tai. So just imagine now, from Tai to, how many letters is Taiwo to them? But yeah, so you can call me Taiwo, you can call me Tai. And I usually prefer to go by that. I think we're small enough that I can know people who are seated here. I'm really just curious as to the faces that I'm speaking with. I know that you guys are creatives, and I'm very interested in what you do. So, you know, they usually say what's it called, the elevator pitch. So you can do your elevator pitch, or just basically introduce yourself. You know, a few sentences. Okay, where do you want to start from? You look like you.
My name is Kelechi Kubu. I'm a talent manager and A&R creative director. I run the talent management agency in Abuja. So,
that's fantastic. Should you go again?
no,
Yes,
go again. My name is Kelechi Kubu. I'm a talent manager and A&R. I run a talent management agency in Abuja.
Okay.
So I'm really interested in intellectual property and everything about it.
Okay. No, that's no pressure at all. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm PC Mado. I'm a filmmaker. I write. Second AC sometimes, and I want continuity. But in the long run, yes, I want to go more into directing and writing. So when I saw the topics to be discussed today, it was quite catching for me.
Okay, great, fantastic.
Okay, my name is Ochukwu.
Okay.
I am a creative designer. My niche is illustrating, graphic design. I want to learn more about intellectual property.
Okay.
My name is Ahmed Babatunde. I am a content and social media strategist for music artists and structured businesses. So in the long run, I'm looking to work full time in the music business so that artist.
My name is Ian Martins. I'm a project and
Good morning, everyone. My name is Grace. I am a voiceover artist. I am a vocalist. I sing and I write songs. And I am very happy to be here, and I can't wait to see what's like in this business.
Hi, my name is Abu Obinaya Godson. I'm a lawyer. I represent creatives. Thank you.
Okay, great.
good morning. My name is Julie. That's the shortest of my name. My full name is Julie Aja.
I was going to ask.
Yes. I really short now because of course. I'm a voice artist. I'm also an artist and a songwriter. I think I'm here to learn as much as possible.
Okay. Great. I think there's somebody here. Okay.
My name is Frederick Francis. I'm a talent manager at A&R. I'm working with 4 artists recently in Abuja. I was fortunate to have the exposure of doing a past
Your name and what you do.
Okay, my name is Gideon. I work with Telesofters. It's a software engineering company, but also we're delving into doing international business, connecting talent to global opportunities. And then I'm interested in what we're talking about.
No, we're talking about. Thank you for doing that. Let me just throw one question before we get into the presentation. And anybody, one or two people, you can just throw in the answer. What's your biggest problem when it comes to intellectual property? Even if you don't know, but what is the biggest, like, what's the biggest issue you have with regards to intellectual property? What do you think? What's the biggest? Okay, let me hear.
When people copy your style.
When people copy your style.
Especially as a creator, content creation. You do something, and I know ideas perch on people, but when you've been doing something for a while, people know you for it, and then somebody just comes out of the blue and is doing the exact same thing and getting the exact same attention because people just love content. So,
And you had pioneered that stuff.
exactly.
Very valid. Extremely valid. Yes.
I think my biggest problem is need to do with the producer aspect.
Okay,
Because,
I think you want to
yeah, my biggest problem is deals with the producer aspect of intellectual property because at the time I didn't know how to follow certain things like when the beat is being remade. You have an idea of this is my sound, this is my producer sound. So how to follow it up most times right now.
So that nobody else
Yeah.
uses, yeah.
So it's like I'd love to know how to go about it.
Nobody should be produced my yeah. Okay. So somebody at the back. I think she's gone. Okay.
How to earn from your property, from your IP. That's a serious issue. A lot of people don't know how to exploit it to earn from it. So that's a big issue, I think.
There you have it. Okay, let me hear you.
Yeah, good morning. So from my end, I think one of the biggest problems I have with IP is safeguarding it. And then also I'd love to know if there is any regulatory body that sees to these things in particular for royalties and stuff, because as creatives we have a lot of issues. I mean they don't feature us for plenty songs now, yeah, but these guys are cashing out and we're not getting anything. So is there a legal system? Is there anything that's put together to help us,
Okay.
Okay, so my challenge is not with people using stuff. I mean, just like one of the speakers said, when ideas drop and they can perch on everyone, even at the same time, my biggest challenge will be just to add to what she said, being able to earn from it, even when people use. I want people to use them because that's why we have it. But how do I get credit for it? And even if it's not just financial, I mean, you should be able to say this is the place I saw this thing and all that.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I don't know why the mic was passed over me the last time, but I'd like to introduce myself.
Oh.
My name is Zainab Salam. I'm a media and communication consultant. Sitting here, I'll be playing the role of a film producer. So my biggest challenge is managing people's ideas. If you come into a room and you share ideas and you put it in a product, I know there are issues around script writers and maybe when ideas are forming, a lot of people want to claim rights to different ideas because everyone is just in a room. So who is the originator of an idea? When an idea is perfect, who owns it? Who owns the right? Who gets that royalty?
Fantastic. Is anybody else? Okay. Alright. I think we're good. Okay. All valid, and I'm very glad that I got to hear that. We'll try and see how we can make sure that we touch on each of these things during the course of the presentation. But before we even, talk about all the technical things of IP, I think it would be good to just break it down into very simple terms. Now, when I tell people that I work with WIPO, most times, and I got that question today, I'm asked, "Are you a lawyer?" And I say, "No," I'm very far from law, and what that's just to say that the concept of intellectual property is not a law thing. Okay, that's the first thing I want to just disabuse your mind, with regards to. It's not a law thing. It's just like landed property. It's like saying that is real estate a law thing? No, it's not. But you often find lawyers at the center of it with the land disputes. Did anybody grow up in the West? Anybody? In the Southwest. Okay. I remember there's this show on BCS. There's this Yoruba thing that was just land disputes. So somebody from one person from I hear something. In case you don't know, don't worry. But every Sunday, and I grew up, my parents were just, and then I'll be wondering what I did. It's land dispute. Somebody's father sold another person's land. Somebody traveled, they sold this person's land, and they come, whose land is this? And then you probably have walked by. I don't know if they do it here, but beware of 419. This land is not for sale. Okay. So just to say that there's just usually that sense of being able to identify an entity as who it belongs to, okay? And say, this is the fence that marks this entity, but then who does this belong to, okay? And the same concept is really what applies to intellectual property. Just take away landed property, landed, and replace it with what? Intellectual. It's simply a question of being able to identify an entity and prove its ownership, okay? But we'll explain all of that in just a little bit. So now I usually like to start with this. When talking about IP, I like to start with this story. And I'm sure one or two people may have heard it or have read it, okay? Now it's yeah, this is what I want to say. Yeah, okay. So now, yes, what is it? It's about a guy who was called Ali Hafed. Now I don't know whether it's a real. We don't know. It's rumored to be a true story. Some people say it's a myth, but anyway. So many years ago, this guy, he's a farmer of African descent, but and he is struggling as a farmer, just trying to make but he's building his farm and all that. But then he starts to hear about the people discovering diamonds, right, and cashing out. And imagine, how farming is. If, you plant this thing, you water, you blah blah blah, you wait till the harvest. And when it didn't harvest, you try to sell it. You hope it doesn't spoil. And you have that cycle of patience throughout your career. So now he hears that people are cashing out and just discovering diamonds. Like you basically get it from the ground, sell it, and you make your money. So he decides that he's going to change his career and become a diamond miner. And so he sells his farm and goes, in search of diamonds, right? Now, unfortunately, he doesn't really, get so much success. He's years and years, a little bit, finds a bit, makes a bit of money, but then he doesn't hit it, right? So he ends up really sad, depressed many years after, and then he kills himself. Just out of depression, it's like, I had a good thing going, but, I let that go. And, I just can't seem to hit this thing that I keep trying to hit. That sense of there's something in front that I've not yet gotten, but, I'm really just trying to hit. And spending your life trying to hit that thing can be quite depressing. So anyway, he gives up and all that. Now, the farmer who bought his land, right, has tried to make the most of it. He's just living a really, quiet, soft life, doing what he can with his land. He's not asking for too much. And so one day, on just this cool afternoon, he's taking a stroll, right, on the land, the property, and notices something on the floor. So there's, how you have just a tiny stream of water, like, can be running through land, not really going to a source. So he just sees that there's something weird about the water today. So he bends down and sees that there's this weird, looking thing but he likes what it looks like. So, he just picks it, tries to dust it off a little bit. He picks it up, I just think it looks interesting. Is it sand? Is it a stone? But it just looks a little interesting. So he dusts it off and then just, cleans it a little bit. It looks interesting. So he puts it on his mantle, just as a decor piece. Yeah. And a few weeks later, somebody visits him and sees this thing on his mantle and he's like, so excited. Do you know what you have? And I was like, I found this thing on the ground. It's just this thing. And he says, this is just the kind of diamond that we're looking for. It's not the regular diamond, but I can tell you this is a rarer kind of diamond. Nobody, there's other places that this exists. And guy says, no, you don't. I'm sure you are wrong. Somebody, do you know how much I bought this land? This land has been here. There's nobody that has ever. But he says, no, I know what I'm saying. Of course, it doesn't really look, because it's not shiny like what you have at diamond. But the guy says, no, I know what I'm saying. This is this particular kind of diamond. It's really rare, but you have it. And to cut the long story short, yes, it was diamond. It wasn't common diamond, which even upped the value. And that wasn't all. The entire farm was filled with it. And so, at the end of the day, all that Ali had spent his entire life in search of was actually right where he was standing. And I like to start oftentimes talking about IP with that story because really that's the case of IP. The IP is not far. We are carrying it on our heads. Okay? Intellectual property is simply refers to the creations of your mind. What's the creation of your mind? I say it often that if you can draw a line on a blank piece of paper, you have created something. It is simply bringing something that did not exist into existence. And it becomes your IP. It is yours, you made it. That's really it. And so, all that the legal frameworks and the whole IP system tries to do is to do what I was describing with landed properties, to create fences or to create identifiers for everybody's creation and be able to ensure that you get your worth and don't end up like an Ali who has diamonds but has nothing, doesn't know what to do with it, can't even recognize it because he was walking by it every day. This is not a case of digging the ground. It was right there. So he had been walking past every single day the very thing he was looking for. But the only difference was that there was nobody to identify it for him and then help him mine it. And so the whole IP framework and IP system, it's a growing system, and I have to add that. It's not a perfect system. There are still things evolving and things becoming better. But what it's really set up, okay, is to be able to say, let people be able to mine the treasures in their heads and get something out of it. Okay? Now, before I now get into just a brief overview of IP, I want to, let's introduce ourselves. Okay? Who is WIPO? What is WIPO? Okay, WIPO is the World Intellectual Property Organization. We are a UN agency, so I'm sure you know of the more forward-facing agencies, the UNICEF, WHO. Okay, we are also a UN agency, but our focus is intellectual property. Okay, so when the Global Forum for Intellectual Property, the entire system or structure of WIPO exists, for intellectual property. Okay. Now, what's our mission? Is to be able to lead the development of a balance in the sense that you want to also you want to favor creators, isn't it? But remember that products of the mind are actually supposed to benefit other people. Okay? So you also want people to be able to benefit from those ideas. So there's that balance. Okay? He's a graphic designer. I started my career as a graphic designer, so I know how we always look for assets. How many people pay for their software? Don't put that in hand. But if you're talking about IP, I tell if you're not paying for what you're using, then you have the right to charge me anything. Okay. If you don't pay for Premiere Pro, don't charge me for the video. Because we are still saying the same thing. You are using another person's IP for free. Why are you arguing about your own IP?
So there's that balance. But then the truth is that some of these things are ridiculously expensive, right? And please welcome Juliana. Juliana is my colleague at WIPO, very brilliant colleague, I must add, and she's going to, just continue the conversation with her. Okay, so like I was saying, somebody's IP is the software, actually. You need it to create, Abby. So yeah, there's that balance, okay? And creativity is really, it's like a cycle. What you create enables the other person to create, and then that, and then, the world continues. It's like a chain of creativity, okay? So we must balance it to be sure that, yes, the original person can get what is due them, but not in a way that blocks the flow, such that we don't, the human race survives on innovation and creativity. We are here today, everything around us was somebody's creation. And if they held it and say, no, you're gonna pay me this, and there's no system that ensures that it can actually be useful, nobody will benefit from it. Okay? So you want to be sure that you're having a balanced view of creativity, okay, and ideas and IP. Okay, so WIPO exists to just help make sure that the IP system is balanced. It favors both the creators, and those that will be using the innovation. And so that's why we say we want to enable innovation and creativity for the benefit of who? Or everybody. Everybody should benefit from creativity and innovation. Now, our activities, we work very hard to improve the IP system, the global IP system. Just on a side note, we'll get into that a little later, but on a side note, IP frameworks exist under two umbrellas, if you can call it that. So there are national frameworks, okay? You have to respect the laws of a country, and we are all generally subject to the laws of whatever country that we exist in. Okay, but there's also what we call international law, in the sense that there's the global system that kind of makes sure that laws, the national laws, at least start at a baseline that favors everybody. So it's like holding people accountable. Okay, it's like saying, let's say you live in an estate. Everybody in your house can do whatever you people have your own, you eat at this time, you can do whatever you like in your house. But your estate would have rules such that it, at least, even though you can do anything, like you're not going to be playing loud music at 2 a.m. because it's going to affect the other house. Okay, so it just gives like a boundary that yes, we can do what we want, but let's favor everybody. Okay, so WIPO is like that estate manager that just makes sure that, okay, yeah, even though different countries have their IP frameworks and IP systems and IP laws, but it shall conforms, to a general frame. Okay, now we hope, or our vision is to be able to see a world where creativity and innovation from anywhere, like you don't have to be in, the top nation of the world. So far as you can create something with your mind, okay, you should be able to benefit from intellectual property. We were established in 1967. We have 193 member states, and up to date 23 treaties. Then you can just go and check all those ones have been administered, and our headquarters is in Geneva. This is just a little bit of where we are in the world. So you can see us here. We're in Nigeria. That's all that to say. We have a Nigeria office in Abuja here. It's at the UN House. Okay, and so we very regularly have events and programs just across the IP space. Okay, to make sure that people here in Nigeria can benefit from the IP system. Quickly, the Nigeria office was established in 2020. Now, why I want to point this out is one of the core aspects of WIPO is what we call external offices. Okay, so we have these external offices at different parts of the world, so you can see each of these is an external office. The idea is that to be able to take WIPO's services, okay, and apply them in that local context. Okay, it's like a translation. Take that so that you have your decoder that brings all that they are doing, brings it to your own TV. Okay, so some people have 3-meter TV. The show will look different from person that has but it's the same show. To get the idea. Right now, usually our key target focus are SMEs, youth, and women, okay, and creatives, right? So we really want to make sure that we are promoting awareness, we are training, and we are building capacity in the field of IP. So like I said, we are in UN House in Abuja. Now, so let's start. What exactly is intellectual property? Okay, so creations of the mind. So like I explained earlier, whatever your mind creates, and I don't think there's a limit to what the mind can create, is there? You can't do anything that can come out of the mind is intellectual property. Okay, so yes, there's books come out of the mind, lyrics come out of the mind, music beats come out of the mind, pictures, videos. I mean, everything. Business ideas, business concept, business models. Okay, not just ideas, business models. What they come like inventions, processes, your Apple iPhone jack, what's that lightning cable, you know, anything really that the mind can create. Okay, now intellectual property is protected by law. We had said that earlier. Remember the fence? Just think of that fence. And so in protecting under the law, it's grouped into categories. Like I said, there's no end to what the mind can create. So we often refer to intellectual property in types. There are different types of IP. It's not just a large umbrella that governs everything. Oh, my IP. No. We refer to them in types, and we're going to go into that now. Okay. Now, like I was saying earlier, the IP system really just tries to foster an environment that benefits both the innovator as the creator and then the audience. Okay. So now let's go into some of the examples of very common examples of intellectual property that we probably would encounter, and then we'll narrow in on that's the ones that we in discussing ahead of this meeting, the ones that we had felt were really key for you guys here. And then my colleague, if she would like to add anything, is very welcome to. Okay, so now let's start with patents. Okay, so remember where we're coming from. Intellectual property refers to creations of the mind. Okay, and it is protected, right, by the law. So a type of intellectual property is what we call a patent. All right. Now we can use the parallel of intellectual property and landed property just for way of illustration. Okay, so you know how you'd say I own one, say, oh, I own an estate. You still own real estate, isn't it? That's a form. Then you can say, oh, I own a farm. That's a form. Okay, we still talk about geographical boundaries, you know, to a piece of land, but in terms of function, of just trying to categorize or name, we just have them as different. So now, what's a patent? A patent really refers to where you have an inventive, a novel, say like a process. Okay, a good example, not to use a lot of big grammar, but so things like, for example, Bluetooth. Not a Bluetooth device, as it were, but the concept of Bluetooth. That scientific process, okay, will have a patent. So you protect it with that. You register it as a patent. And the idea is that it is novel. It's an invention. Just think of it as an invention, something that hasn't been done before. And with patents, you want to prove novelty, that this wasn't existing before. Okay, so not that, oh, it's somewhere you now found, you shall tweaked it. No, like this is absolutely new. Okay, so Bluetooth. But anyway, the idea is it must also have industrial application. So it's not like I put two stones together and say stones have never been done like this together before. This is my patent. With stones, you know, there must be some, you prove. So in the patent process, there's a place where you prove that this has industrial application. Okay, so but the idea is that it is to encourage innovation. Okay, in fact, the world that we see in terms of all the invention and innovation that we are really taking advantage of has been empowered by this patenting system, because people are able to derive some value from just coming up with a new way of doing things. It's why it is so, especially in the Western world, people are eager and are happy to spend hours in labs and think up new things and blah blah blah, all of that, because there's some value that they get out of it. Okay, do we get that? So patents, remember, inventions, we are thinking so you think things like scientific inventions, and that could be even things like vaccines, anything, all the science world, science tech world, that's where you have patents. Now trademarks, okay, refer to where you have a combination of either letters, words, sounds, or designs now that are capable of distinguishing something from another. When you hear trademarks, think of brand or branding, a brand. A trademark essentially is to just be able to protect a brand. Okay, is to say, what's your stage name? J-Clips. Okay. Now, in the mind of J-Clips audience, J-Clips probably represents something, right? If I mention Fela, there are things that come to the mind, isn't it? You think high life, you think not high life, Afrobeats, right? And you think Afrobeat. There's something that Fela represents in the mind. If I mention Sonny Ade, there's Juju. Something Juju, you think Juju music, but there's something that just appears in the mind. Now a trademark tries to protect that's what that thing represents. It's like saying you want to compress it in a bottle and be able to attach a mark, a symbol, a word, a letter to that thing that is being represented by somebody's by whether a product or a person, and all that, so that somebody else will not leverage on the work that has gone on before, because it takes a lot of work to build a brand. Okay, now I'll give you an instance of a dispute that happened recently. So we all know the Barbie is it franchise, like the whole Barbie world, right? So there was a guy in Canada, I believe, in Canada, who opened a restaurant. I think it was a grills, if I'm correct. Well, restaurant anyway. He called it Barbie. It was barbecue, yes, it was in barbecue, and he called it Barbie. And so the Mattel, I think, is the company that owns the Barbie trademark, sued them for using the Barbie. And then the dispute back and forth, the argument was, we are not doing dolls, we are doing grills. And it proved that the name got from Barbie, barbecue, so Barbie, it's from barbecue, that. But then the other side of it is, there's that word Barbie has become everyday language because of the work of this method. That it will there's no how. People will walk into the restaurants. Something about it, Barbie, even if it's curiosity. That is it that a restaurant called Barbie. So that leveraging on pre-existing fame or popularity is what trademarks tries to keep it from happening. So for example, Mswitch as a brand, Mswitch already represents something to all of us here. So for somebody to come and say I want to do a brand of earphones, and I decide I'm going to call it Mswitch, you should have the right to fight back and say no. You are leveraging on the work may have done to make my name mean something. Do we get the idea of a trademark? Okay, so a trademark really just wants to be used so that it signs, just be able to identify an entity by a sign, a name, you know. And so the encouragement usually is, especially if you come up with a brand name or a stage name or something, trademark it. So that it's not after years of investing and investing into, you know, so much work that you have put in and you have done. Another example for that, this is a real life example. I was speaking with a recent, what do they call that? What's that word? It was trending. I just got back. That IJJB. Some. So he was we were just having a conversation on the whole IP thing. So he's a creative, and then he was, you know, just not lamenting. He's gotten over it, but it's just a very common, I guess, or side case of the whole trademark thing. So as a young, you know, guy in the UK with his friends, they started doing this Afro. I hope I remember the name. But it was a very clever name. But they were doing like these events with Afro beats and all of that. Of course, and somewhere outside that would catch on. But they really got, so they were making the beats or like the mix themselves. They were doing the mix. It's something like, but they had a very clever name that they called it. If I remember, and I'm like, this makes sense. So, but because it was a combination of the Afro beat and then all of that. But it was a very well when they were young guys, and so they were, and the thing really became popular in London, and people were really showing up. It became so popular that a record label wanted to use the whole that thing and the concept, and then the record label, of course, our young guys, you see all the hustle that you have been hustling, seen as hits. So with all joy, and so this is maybe 10 years after that name, I'm really trying, has become a whole service offering of this record label. Nobody knows them. There's no trace or connection to these guys whatsoever. And it's a little too late because they've trademarked it. That's the record label. And the thing with trading is who goes there first. You know, and there's nothing to point to these guys that this was where it started. So they know, because they know where it all started, they know where, you know, and then if they had known early on, even before the thing, so before you invest work and energy and all of that, and you have what we call goodwill, in the sense that, you know, brands represent things. Nike has a brand. There's a perception Nike has in the mind. Right? If I go and open, can I just maybe I'm doing makeup, and to just be right, I can't call my makeup studio Nike makeup, so nobody will come look out this thing. You can true, you know, true. But you just think of all of the big names you know, and then I just use that I want to open something. I should, if I've invested a lot of effort and money in making my name mean something, then if somebody wants to use it, they should, something should come, or they should not be able to use that all. Because again, what you want is even to, a trademark protects that name, that mark or that name, that entity from being perceived wrongly. Right. So think of the barbecue smell. What if this grill maybe is racist or something? You know, and somebody walks in and is discriminated against. You know, they start to associate that word barbecue with racism. You know, so it's just protecting this, that let my name not be known for something that is not me, that is not my value. Okay, and so you want to trademark, but it should be noted that a trademark registry, if I register a trademark, is valid for 10 years. That's one of the balancing things that comes in, because the idea is that if you are not using a name, let somebody else use it. Okay? So, but you should renew your registration every 10 years. So it's assumed that if you don't renew it, you are willing to let it go, and somebody else can use. I mean, not maybe not just a name, but you know, symbols. So like the Nike swoosh, logos, the Gucci red and what's that called?
Green.
That they are red and green stripe, those lines. That's Louis Vuitton. No, it's Gucci. Yes, please.
So if an artist has it, like if somebody else trademarks an artist's name, does it mean the person owns it?
Yes, it's whoever
So
trademarks.
even if you're using the name, you still have to trademark it for it to belong to you.
Yes. Otherwise, anybody can take it.
Something that just should considering you already released music with this name. I mean, it means that you start using the name before anybody else. It's yours now.
Well, that's where the disputes come in. But if you didn't register it, you can't prove. Yes, please.
So right there is timestamp on your music that you released already with that name.
Is a different thing. So the creation, the music you created is yours. That is copyright. You understand? Nobody's going to go for that when you can prove that it's yours. But then the name, like example house, yes. And then I wanted to point out with regards to the Barbie stuff. So they have different classes when you are trying to trademark something, for instance. So if it's Mattel, right? If Mattel trademarks that in a different class, every class has its category. Let's say perfumes have their own class, music, everything has their own class. So if Mattel trademarks Barbie in a different class, and this barbecue guys goes ahead to trademark in a restaurant class, then I don't think Mattel is going to win them because it's different.
They did. So that was actually where the smaller guys won the case. But there was still the argument that, class aside, there was a component of what that name represents, which was where I was really going. There's already a memory in people's minds when they hear the name that there's no how that is leveraging. And of course, it was a dispute, and in the court of the law isn't perfect. So in the court of law, the smaller guys won, again proving the class thing, because of course, Barbie is dolls. This is restaurant. This is food. But then, where we're narrowing things down to, and in a way that applies to you guys, is that concept of what we call like goodwill, or what a brand starts to represent, and how you should protect yourself. Okay, now it's not it's not like protection of that's all, everything, nobody will come near this or all that. No. Remember that I said the IP system is growing, it's been modified, it's evolving, it's what it is. But you as a creator, you do what you can. That before investing a lot of work. So for your question, in the sense that I've been using it, why can't I? That's the whole idea of disputes and all that. But of course, what would always stand is who has it registered. When it comes to trademarks, who has registered a trademark? Remember what a trademark is? It is, you can have a sign, a symbol, a name that represents an entity. Okay, and so before you invest in making something an entity, protect the name, right? So that as you build, you invest into it, start to shape your brand. And what's a brand? A brand is a perception. That thing, what comes in mind when you hear of something or somebody, or before you start to shape people's perception of you or your product or what you're doing, protect what that perception will be known as. Before you build a house, build fence, so that it's not while you are building the house you come and steal pipe or steal cement. I mean, what they people put fence and put gate. That's how people do that. Before, when you have a piece of land, just mark it as your territory first. So it's that thing of the whole trademark idea is mark this as this is mine. Okay, I'm going to start to build it, right? I will start investing my energy in advertising, in social media, in building my brand. But my brand is already protected. Okay? Before invest. And many times, as ideas are hot, you quickly want to go and do business registration and feel like everything is done. No. Okay, business registration is not equal to trademark registration, because if you've not marked it as your territory, somebody else will come and take it. Okay.
I have a question. Using this question, how would you advise registered in a different classification. So as an artist, trying to protect your IP, can you give examples on ways you can avoid that?
That's ways of making sure you're protecting
So
like
Barbie was registered under what? Doll?
no, we don't know what class it was. I mean, in totality. But he was saying that why there was a case of dispute was because it's likely that these guys will push forward that no, we registered our own name in a different class. Under restaurant. Now, in terms of you really, it's not so much a question of avoiding or not avoiding, as it were, because these disputes will come up. Again, it's that same case of, remember the idea of landed property. You would have disputes. You cannot keep how do I put it now? There are all manner of people in the world. Somebody can come up and try to, push a name or all of that. But you haven't done what you can in terms of the paperwork and proving your own originality and your category. But then again, why these guys won the case is that the judges or the court's decision is based on the fact that this restaurant having their name as Barbie shouldn't affect Barbie at all. That's the argument at the end of it. That's where it settles, that the brand Barbie is not affected in any way by the restaurant Barbie. Okay. And that's the whole class, not class thing. Now, that being said, oftentimes what we advise as WIPO is that don't try to do your registrations alone. Make sure that you are or not make sure, but it's generally advised to have legal help. Because when a dispute comes up, it's back to the courts. So it's IP. Remember I said that IP is protected by law. It's the law that just helps us put this or enforce these boundaries. So you have legal help. You do all you can. Make sure that you are hitting for your registrations. You are doing all that. But you have legal help, because when disputes, we can't keep disputes and all of these things from arising. So they end up going back to that. Your aim is not to try and keep from having disputes. It's to make sure that you have invested enough that it goes in your favor. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I hope that helps. Okay. So maybe also further to that, I don't want you to see IP as like wielding a sword and try to leave my idea. Don't touch it. No. It's more guard your territory. May people come and try? Of course, don't, so that you can give yourself the freedom to keep creating. You don't fight me. So just make sure that you are guarding, you are building your own security and mark your own space. So if anybody there's easy way to fight them off. Because the better you get, they'll come for you. It's not okay. Let me not say that. That's just what it is. It's like it's.
So I wanted to ask, when.
Okay, good.
So I wanted to ask, when you go about doing what's first to guard your territory. So when someone approaches your idea creativity of mind, is there could there be a ground for settlement in that space if we're not going to court? Okay, I want to use your stuff. Can I give you credits? Can I pay this certain percentage and I can go ahead with it? With that agreement, can you say that you can have a level ground?
Very great question. We're coming to copyright, which I feel is really where a lot of the conversation will be for you guys. So I try to kind of select that out and zero in a little bit on it. I hope I still have time. But yes, it's yours. So the idea is that what IP tries to do is to give you the power to do what you want to do with your property. Okay? And then help you, stand by you if somebody tries to push against your will. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so let's move. A few other types before we zero in on copyright. There's what we call geographical indications. Okay. Still, again, this is a growing area of IP, but the idea is that you have certain products that have a specific geographical origin. So some of the examples I put here, we've all heard of tequila, right? Yeah. Tequila as a product, as a kind of liquor, originates from Mexico. Okay, and so there should be a way of just protecting where it has come from, right? Mr. Salami usually is excited when he mentions about things that get where I'm going, and things that are it's not just that they are local to somewhere, that it's only these people here, no, but it came from somewhere, right? And so if I'm going to be making tequila, the people who it came from should get something from whatever I make, right? Because if I'm selling tequila, what I'm selling is I'm making my money because of the work they've done. You get the rationale. There's a way it's done, there's blah blah blah. If I'm just doing that, I'm producing that, why it's going to sell is because they've done something before, they've done that work before. But if there's no framework to protect that, anybody can just do whatever they like. Unfortunately, we here in Nigeria, are not, well, I guess it's still growing, but there's a lot of things that originate from here that, just reproduced everywhere. So, one example is Adire. We were talking earlier how that, even in China, they make Adire now, but, of course, I'm not sure, I don't even know if we know where it comes from. Well, we have an idea. We know it's like, Yoruba, but where, along the line it's lost, so can't really point to this is a small town, so where geographical indication, usually you can point to the specific geographical location that this thing came from. Champagne, I can't remember what country it is, but it is a town, it's an actual town, okay, and that's their drink, and it came from there. And so any champagne anywhere, there's percentage that goes back there from their sales. But again, it's a question of you're proving that this comes from here. Okay, so that's about geographical indication. So it's more like it's not you don't have an individual in this case. You have, something is localized to this place. This is their tradition. They've been doing it for years. There's a way they've been, by making some kind of pots, for example. There's a particular way they mix their clay, and there's a mark they put, and there's all of that. And this, if you see the pot anywhere, this is this kind of pot. It is from this place. Okay. You must be able to tie it back to this place, and you must get something for every time anybody earns from that product. Does that make sense? Okay, geographical location. So industrial designs. Now, industrial designs is another category of IP, but this now talks about the aesthetic aspects of a thing. For example, how this chair is built. Right? A chair is a chair, right? It's for sitting. But somebody can, an innovation or an innovator, a creative, can come up with a chair in a little bit of a different way. That's the idea, isn't it? That's a creation of the mind, that I can do a chair somehow differently. Now, that look and feel of this new kind of chair can be protected under what we call industrial designs. Okay, so we're talking about three-dimensional aspects of an object, or 2D aspect of an object. So, there's a wide range, bags, furniture, essentially the look and feel of something. If I change the way it is, if I say, okay, watches are made a certain way, what if I make, a one-handed watch that, you can hold in your hand, or just, some different way of, but that form, the design of it, you can then protect it. Now let's come to where we are going to just spend a little more time, and then we'll take questions that you might have. So now, what's copyright? Okay. Copyright refers to rights that creators have in their literary, artistic, and scientific works. Okay, so if you create, you can think of copyright as as like the word that comes to mind is soft work. Okay, like where the expression of your idea is not essential, it's not like you created something physical. Okay, so like music, like text, code, it appears to software code as well. You know, so it's, you see what that covers. Books, music, paintings, sculpture, films, computer programs, databases. You know, it's I mean, most of the time when people talk about creative rights, they're usually thinking in terms of copyright. Okay, advertisements, maps, technical drawings, you know, and a wide range of things. Now, this is very important. This third point, copyright applies to the creative expression, not just an idea. That you shared an idea with somebody, it's not copyright. It's not written. It has to be expressed. Like, was there a song? Not that, you know, I had a song, I have a song, I have a song. Where is the song? Your head. It's protected in your head. You know. Or even we had a meeting. You see how I laid down the plan of it's my own, it's my own. Okay? It is the you protect the expression of the idea, not the idea itself. You protect songs, right? You protect books, you protect lyrics. It is when that expression must cross from just the head to something we can actually look at. That's what we protect. Okay? Now a little more on copyright. Now, when you talk about copyright, there are two aspects to it. So copyright refers to moral rights and economic rights. Okay, so let's start first with moral rights. It's simply what he was asking, the right to be acknowledged as an author. So if I create something, I have the right to be acknowledged as the creator of this thing. So it's called the moral rights. Now, as with moral rights, it's just a question of good or bad. Okay? It is your moral right to be acknowledged as the creator of something. And also, you have the right to keep your work from being altered in a way that you don't want it to be. Remember, and I want you to make sure you're tying this to where we're coming from. Remember that we said that your idea of intellectual property is to be able to ensure that when I create something with my mind, right, there's a system that helps to ensure that I can get what I should from this. That effort to create something is rewarded, essentially. Okay? Are we here? Just stay with me a little longer, we'll soon be done. Now, economic rights, on the other hand, refers to the right to control the distribution of a thing. Now, that's where the whole money thing comes in. The right to control the distribution. And now, the enforcement of these economic rights depends on, like I said earlier, remember, like you have an estate. All of us in our house, there's a way we do things in our house, right? That still boils down to us. So within a country, national laws on copyright might differ from some other country. Okay, but generally the idea is that what the right it confers on you is that you have the right to control the distribution of whatever you have created. You have the right to determine where your art piece goes, where your video goes, where your movie goes, where your song goes, where your beat goes. You have that right as the creator of the right. Now, he was asking about can we agree and all that. Now that comes under transference of economic rights. Okay, you can't transfer moral rights. It's yours, is yours. But then of economic rights, it is transferable. That means what is transferable is the control of what is done with this thing. Okay. Now there are two ways of transferring economic rights. And I'm sure some of you guys have heard of all these words then, because like a license. Licensing is like rental. Okay? It allows the right owner to let somebody use that work under certain conditions. Like a landlord gives you house. He has not dashed you the house, but he allows you to live with it, but you must abide by certain rules. Okay? So it's basically like you see you're renting something. So it's like you created it, but okay, use it, but these are the terms. So those terms are often stated, you know, when it's going to be used. Now the other type of transference is what we call assignment, and that's essentially you give your right to somebody else. Okay, you can sell it for a fee, but once you sell it, you take your hands off. It's no longer yours. Again, think of property. I sell the house. I can't come back and say, please, let me to bring. I'm the one. It's my own. I build it. I see the TFO. There's nothing like that. Okay, once you sell it, you've sold it. It's no longer yours, right? But the other side of it is rights can also be inherited. Okay, so the rights to something can be inherited upon the death of the owner. Okay, let me just continue. Okay, so we said licensing, that's like rental, then assignment, isn't it? Okay, so rights can be inherited upon death. Oh, now where you have book authors, music composers, recording artists, okay, so those kind of creations, in books, literary works essentially, and the recording artists, you can either license, remember, for a fee for a period of time, license your rights, or actually assign the rights in what is called, or in exchange for payments known as royalties. Okay, so that's the whole idea of the royalties, that you are either giving it to somebody else to use. Okay, connecting again. Sorry, 1 minute. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to get back. Okay, so we say book authors, music composers, and recording artists can either license or assign their rights in exchange for payments known as royalties. Okay, so if you create something, you can hand over, transfer rather, the rights to use that thing, either through a licensing model. Remember, I said earlier that you want to make sure you are having legal help along the way, but so that you have the knowledge and know that, okay, for giving somebody the right to use it under your own specified conditions, you cannot use it like this, you cannot use it like that, or you generally sell it off as royalties. Now there's also the idea of collective management organizations, in the sense that it's like cooperative of rights. Now, rather than you trying to manage the rights to your own creation, what you can do is to transfer the rights to a collective management organization, who then helps to keep guard over your rights. Okay, it's like you have a general safe. So instead of me, I don't have a safe in my house, or I don't want to do the trouble of that, I take my whatever it is, my gold, my this thing, and they do it for me. They keep watch. They invest in doing all of that guarding and keeping it in for you. Now, like I was saying earlier, it's yours, so some people choose to give their work away for free. Okay? And that's what we usually can tell. For example, it's not the only, but the major example is where you have Creative Commons licenses. I'm sure you probably have used images that are under or licensed under Creative Commons. So when anything is under Creative Commons, you can use it for free. Okay? Some beats that you use as like background for your songs or for your videos can be under Creative Commons. And I encourage you as a creative, if you're trying to look for assets to use, really do try to develop the discipline now of using things that, if you're not going to pay for it, use things that are free. And the good thing is that they are free. Nobody's going to, drag you. They may not look for you to sue you, but they won't drag you. And then it also helps if you have big dreams for yourself. Don't build a shaky foundation. Don't let it be like the song that now hits is the one that you stole the beat. It will not be good, because when the song now is, that's what you should have given them something to come and look for you for. Your haters now have what to from the village that they now say now say court case something the beat was, and the person that made the beats maybe is the one is one broker somewhere, and then just cashing out from your success. So I mean, it's a good discipline to build from now. Whether you're doing film, graphics, music, whatever assets you use, please make sure you are either buying them, paying for them, like getting a license to use them, or you just go and settle with the free ones. Okay, please.
Sorry. Yes. You said something about when you sell your rights, you don't have anything to do with that certain. That when you sell your rights, you don't have anything to do with that. Nothing you've created. Well, is there another way where you can actually sell your rights and you still have ownership over that?
They are sold. Are you talking about licensing? Licensing, that's the other part of it. So I mentioned licensing is that you are allowing somebody to use it for a fee, but you are not selling it. It's still yours. So the licensing agreement is what you have that states the use. Typical example, if you come down to what is common, so let's say at the Adobe suite, for example, Adobe offers you the free version. Not the free version. You can use it for a month when you pay. After your subscription is like, that is the good. That's like your agreement. So you've paid them a fee. You can use it for anything you want, but it is just for this period. Once that is gone, some other things. If, for example, lyrics, you can say, you use it, but a fee comes to me for every dollar that is made here. I get this. Anything it could be. That's where the legal work comes in.
Thank you.
No. Yes, so creative. Someone has a question.
I have a question. I just wanted to say something with regards to the equation we have. You can always have arrangements where the person is using your creation for a particular time, and then you receive royalties for that period, and then at the expiration of that period, the rights you've already allocated to that person returns back to you. Example, you can have a percentage, or let's say you have this beat and you want the person to use it between now and December. If he doesn't release the song he has made, then automatically it elapses. Then you are now pushing him now to leave his comfort zone and then do something that actually pushes him out there and also pushes you out there. You are a producer, you have an artist, but they record and they don't want to release now because they are afraid of what the perception will be. We are arranging in the way that they know they have spent money to record and they really have to push it out now, or they don't have right to that again. Then with regards to assignment, there are people Michael Jackson, but they are masters. automatically the owner of royalties. Let's say somebody goes and performs this song somewhere. From that performance, the money made, he has a percentage from that because it's no longer that person's, property.
Yeah.
Then with regards to what she said about Kodrago, when Shani Public gave the song to the original song, the beat was not his. He was just vibing to it and he just split. And then he had to go back, got busy, and then they remade the beat after it was taken down. So that's just it.
Thank you so much. That's legal advice. Okay. All right. So now, and like I said earlier, moral rights, like we said, you can't trade or transfer it. It's your own. It's your own. It's like saying, this guy, this is his, and this is his. Okay. Simple like that. Now, one last thing about copyright. There's something called related rights. So when we refer to copyright, we say copyright and related rights, because I'm wondering how nobody asked me that. Sometimes a song is a collaboration. It's not one person. So we all start that day. It was somebody's birthday. We were all, in a great mood, and everybody this and blah 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 blah. And one beat came up, and somebody said, no, add this one, and then by the time we cooked everything up, it was whose own is it? The best is in the party. So related rights, again, before I go to this, like I said, I want you to remember that the IP system is growing. It's a human system. Okay? So it's growing, it's been, as issues come up, so now for example, a lot of these laws did not, AI, there was nothing like AI when it came up, so now that there's AI, what do we do? There, a lot of these things are the subject of high level, meetings, and everybody's just trying to make sure that this thing works for everybody and is fair. Okay? Now, as it is right now, related rights, we try to say, okay, sometimes a creation is not the work of an individual, but a group of people, and so we refer to it as, we call it related rights. But it works like copyright. So a group of us can, what's the word? Can say we own something together, right? A creation, a work. But because if in a movie, for example, yes, you have the person who wrote the script, but it's not the script writer that is exactly responsible for the success of the movie. He helps, but you can have a great script and terrible acting, and that's the end. Okay? Or great script, great acting, horrible videography, a production, and it falls flat. So that sometimes it takes a group of people to make something actually golden, and so that's still a bit of a tricky space, but there is that umbrella for related rights. Now we say the protection is actually similar to copyright, but I forgot to mention that. Now if you see, I say most countries it lasts for 50 years after the date of whether the performance or the recording was done, that collaboration. Now 50 years after it has elapsed, you lose, anybody can use it. Copyright, I don't know if, I hope I mentioned it somewhere. Okay, I didn't. But it differs from country to country, but I think the baseline is 70 years after the death of the person who wrote it. I saw a post, I haven't had the time to verify, but it was a very interesting post. They were putting the timelines when the rights to some of the major characters we know are expiring. Winnie the Pooh, I think, expired last year.
Expired
2 years ago. 20, okay, sorry, we're in 2024. I thought we were in 2023. So it expired in 2022, So some of the Marvel characters they have their expiry date. So which just means that it becomes what we call it's the open source.
So that means the writer died 50 years ago.
No, 50 years after the animation. No, this is 70. It's not. It's the related writer is 50. That's why it's a group of people.
Okay.
Copyright. Some countries is even more, but I think the minimum is 70. I hope I'm correct.
It's 70 years from when the creator dies, or 70 years from when it was created?
No, from when the creator dies. So the idea is, that economic rights can be inherited, so that it's part of the children would enjoy some of the benefits for a bit, like what you inherit in the will, but they can't just enjoy it forever. Is that's where these balances try to come in, that yes, let's allow the creator enjoy to an extent, but then people should be able to also use it, for things, whatever it represents. So, I mean, if I want to, so if I want to start selling Winnie the Pooh t-shirts now, I can don't have to pay anybody. I just print the picture. Okay.
So what if somebody buys the rights before what if someone buys the rights before the creator dies?
And now they own
So
the rights.
whose time are they using to calculate now? Is it the new buyer or the creator's time?
That's a good question. So legal, so that keyword is depends.
Depends on.
Depends on what the law says in that particular country.
It depends.
Okay.
No, that comes in.
Law comes in, and that's where you now have, okay, so what is this one? So you then have those disputes and the rest. It's really.
So I'm looking. Let me have a So I'm looking at is it celebration of celebration?
Yeah.
So Fela died how many years ago now?
30 years.
So we're looking at 70. So in 70 years time, for example, if that's the law that applies to Nigeria, does that mean that other people can actually start doing celebration without, recourse to the Fela family?
The celebration is not.
Celebration is not when they
Yes,
it's after Fela.
Then what is it? What is celebration? Is it an event?
No, but it's a family.
This
No, it's a
trade-
family.
No,
It's
you
a
have,
family.
that's not that's trademark.
Okay.
That's a
I think
name.
it's just like music.
Trademark is 10 years. You have to renew. You can keep renewing it for.
I saw something on the right of that after the first 10 years, if you renew it again, then it's indefinite.
Again, law.
It can be renewed this after 10 years.
Again, it depends on.
So every 10 years.
So you're renewing every 10 years indefinitely.
Law. Okay, but that celebration is the name of an event. So that's a trademark. A copyright is a work, a piece. So say.
So his music.
His music. His music is what would be 70 years. Celebration depends. They may not, funny enough, it may not even be trademark.
Very possible.
It may not be. And somebody can.
See them doing it on different cities.
But you see, that's sometimes the strength of a strong brand is that a really strong brand is that if somebody tries to use it,
that's when they will wake up.
I mean, nobody. It just look like a copycat.
Yeah, exactly.
Because somebody can so embody a brand that it's like saying, if for example, let's say we don't know, maybe somebody they escaped somebody, slipped somebody, Burna Boy did not trademark his name. If somebody comes tomorrow and says his name Burna Boy,
I have one that is going on now. Are you aware that Mommy Jew is not
trademark?
Yeah, it's not trademark. I have a friend that is already working on that.
Wow.
Oh no, I can't put this on the mic.
So what if
So all your Mommy Jews,
the person that trademarked the name now sues Burna Boy? Even if Burna Boy is not popular, can the person win?
yes, yes. In fact, that's what some people. That's
Can we speak to the mic?
they most likely would have. The other thing.
There's this thing that we do right now. So there's this artist, Agoriban. I reached out to him and I told him, you don't have your you I have to be important. Okay, so I reached out to him with regards to the trademark. I thought it is manager, monitor. And then they are kind of wasting time, So I realized it's either while I was waiting for them, they are proceeding to trademark the name. Then I just thought about something, what I can arbitrage. Some of this, to trademark your name is not even expensive. So, being a lawyer, I know I'm paid to do for short. You understand? So, what if, yes, I can just go about looking for all these big artists, trademark their names, write to them, they should stop using it. Automatically, they have built a fan base with that name.
They have to.
Just like Kiss Daniel, they have to change them from Kiss Daniel to Kiss Daniel. You understand? So, this kind of things happen where, one, you have a lawyer, but the lawyer is kind of busy to come up with all of that. You understand? To cover because you have to cover all these fields in order to protect your artist. You understand? So it's called more like arbitrary. If you guys heard when they said Binance Nigeria, but there was nothing like Binance Nigeria. What they did was they realized that Binance had not incorporated rather this time the company in Nigeria. So they incorporated it and they were waiting for Binance to come to Nigeria. When they see okay, people have incorporated this, then they can go ahead to do negotiation.
Then you get money.
So now you're bringing
it is a thing actually. People, it is a thing.
It's
It's not like even things like
web name, you have a website.
Exactly. I was going to say that. You don't. So you want to, as much as possible, when it comes to the trademark idea, before you start to, publicize yourself, you're going about, make sure protect your name. So that it's not like it's when you blow, then somebody just comes to cash in on. Okay, before we would be able to talk a lot more, but let me I want to close this with just a few. This is the final 2 slides. Now, there's a whole world of, especially copyright when it comes to you, and I usually advise. I know that many people don't like to read, but there's a lot inside books that are very helpful. In fact, I advise creatives that we know there's a lawyer here to do, but when you're speaking with a lawyer, be knowledgeable. Right? It's like saying you want somebody to come and do electrical wiring in your house, and you don't even know, you don't know anything. So the person will just come and say, you see, the wire comes from under, and they will show you this way we dig it to come from under. And then by the time they pad it and say the digging fee is this amount. When we dig, we even enter. They used to tap it from inside the ground, then it's satellite, and then they just scatter the whole thing for you. You see, this person knows it. So you be knowledgeable. Knowledgeable not just and then don't just be knowledgeable about, it's not just Nigerian laws. Remember I mentioned that there are global laws that come up, and sometimes even other countries' laws. In case you're blowing is not Nigeria, and the plane you are blowing is going to blow Jamaica, but you don't know about you just assume that everything is the same everywhere. But understanding that this is how it happens. The major countries of in the UK, this is how their own intellectual property laws operate, and if it looks like it's like this way I want to blow, but you want to be sure that you're reading. So if you go to it's very simple, wipo.int /publications. Sorry, it didn't show so clean. But wipo.int, or even if you just Google WIPO publications, you take it there. Okay. Now when you get to the main publications page, just click search for a publication. You don't have to, just once you click that. Now the very first topic is what you have, copyright and related rights. Remember I said we term like group collaboration under related rights. Okay, so there's a whole lot. There's a lot. If you look at the number, that's 99 publications. There are handbooks for music. There's a handbook. Okay, if we have, I can share the links. There is a handbook for musical for those in music that just deals with everything that has to do with copyrights when it comes to music. There are handbooks for whether you're in advertising. There's one that just even a general overview of copyright. Okay, because it helps to explain things in a lot of detail. Breaks that the book of copyright book is not that big, but anyways, it's quite detailed. Okay, so that on the music one, I know there are a lot of music guys here. Take the time. The good thing about reading is that it's a secret superpower. People don't expect you to read. So when you read, you've already gone a little above their expectation. If you walk into a negotiation, if today, a big company wants to take you up and they feel like, what is this one can't do anything? And then you come in, or or you read, whether it's film, it's as long as you are, the whole idea is, you remember, build your fence before you do the work. So all your hard work of creating, of investing in yourself, of you attend this, you have a sample, you are showing somebody, all that hard work, before you start to do it, please guard it first. So mark your name, ensure that you are engaging a lawyer, but make sure you yourself are building your own capacity in knowledge, and it's free. It's all absolutely free of charge. Everything about this issue all over the world, you can read it for free. Okay? Thank you very much. That's end now. Thank you. Encourage you. You can check out our webpage, the WIPO Nigeria office. Just info. Mswitch. We have quite a good relationship, so you see a lot more of us. But if you want to stay up to date with just general IP news and events that can be helpful to you, you can just be on our webpage and then our LinkedIn as well. We do a lot of events and so on SMEs, like I said, training, capacity building on this IP thing. So
You guys are not on Instagram.
the WIPO organization is on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So the Nigeria office, we just want to be able to plug at least things in the local context. So we don't necessarily need to be able. But WIPO is on. You can check us on Instagram. WIPO is on Instagram. That's true. What's today? We are still in June. Is anybody? It's even open to anybody. We have a photography contest globally happening right now.
I was going to ask about photography. I didn't see anything about pictures.
It's under
in the list.
copyright.
Okay.
It's under copyright.
So who owns the picture? The person in it or the photographer?
Who created it?
The person that created it.
And then I'm in a picture, and I don't have any right on it.
You were just your being alive does not make a
So
picture.
what if before taking it, I don't give you permission to take my picture?
That's not
No,
IP.
and I'm like, don't take me a picture.
And that's a legal issue. That's not IP. But the fact that I sit down does not create a picture. Somebody has to take is the person who that photograph somebody created it. I just happen to be a subject inside. But it can fall under related rights if we collaborate together, we are creating something. So I'm the one that I did my makeup a certain way, or I posed a certain, but we had agreed from the start that we are doing this together. So that's where you then have related rights. Okay, you have a question.
Yes. Hi, my name is Charity. I work in Mswitch. But let's say, for the purpose of this question, I don't work in Mswitch. I don't know anybody like this that would teach me something like this, and I am a musician. Where do I start from? I don't have money. I just have all these songs I want to do. There's song in my head, right? And maybe I don't even have a friend lawyer. I don't what are the actionable steps to take for a creative that doesn't know where to start, so that we can actually give them something to work with when they have all these ideas.
When they have all these questions.
Do you want to answer?
No, let's hear what you want to do.
I'm going to give the simplest answer.
No, please go ahead.
Google.com. I'll just say Google.com. YouTube. You can literally search anything. Like I always tell creatives that anything you need, any question that you are confused about, just put it on the search bar. You will most likely see a lot of resources about it. So it's that easy. So most times they give excuses and it's that easy.
Thank you. But it's a great question. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I should say that one thing that's very useful to remember is that copyright is automatically yours once you create something. Okay? It's your own. You don't, most countries, but some countries require some kind of voluntary registration procedures, but I create something, it belongs to me. So what you now want is that somebody that doesn't come to exploit you. So if I create something, I already have my IP. So if I'm a musician and I'm creating music, I already have intellectual property. I have created something. Okay, as long as you are creating. Now in terms of how do I then go about protecting my intellectual property, like we say, WIPO has all these resources that you can use to learn. But in terms of the actual protection, IP is protected by law. So, find it.
Can I say something?
Yes.
That's actually a very good point, because I remember Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift had
those are those songs that we hear on the streaming platforms, on YouTube. They own the masters of that song, but she owns the intellectual property, so she remade the songs, but she used different beats. She re-recorded them again.
Fantastic.
Because she owns that piece of music. But what we hear on the streaming platforms, the record label owns that. So intellectual property is yours.
It's
You
yours.
create it,
It's yours.
it belongs to you. Nobody can take that away from you. So that's just the point.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you.
So
Thank
can I
you.
ask
So
a
the
question, please?
okay, yes, please.
Sorry, hi. My name is Akwai.
Okay.
Head of production at Mswitch. So using the what's it called, the Winnie the Pooh analogy, how do you now protect something you've worked over the years to create and give like a definition to? Because Mickey Mouse now be expiring like next 5 years or so, and someone could just be waiting for it to expire and take advantage of it. Just a year after Winnie the Pooh's license expired, they made an horror flick with the name Winnie the Pooh, and Winnie the Pooh was a serial killer. This is something that over the years we've known Winnie people to be like this child-friendly character and all that. And somebody can just one day create something and destroy that entirely. So how do we protect that? Even though you've created this over the years, it will be kept pristine just the way you wanted it to be. And one psychopath will just wake up one day and be like, this is my time to just destroy this industry.
So an answer I would give to that, two things to say to that. But I mean, and then I'll be happy to hear, and then Juliana, if you have any comments, please. Number one is, so let's use the Winnie the Pooh example. Winnie the Pooh existed for the years that the creator was alive, and for 70 years after. The assumption, right, is that even if a movie is made that paints Winnie the Pooh as a serial killer, it has been in existence for so long that you kind of know, oh, this is painting Winnie the Pooh as something. This is not Winnie the Pooh. Do you get that? The work has existed long enough to establish what it is and what it's about, right? But then you have to let it go and make it becomes whatever anybody wants. Right now, the IP system does not allow you to indefinitely hold the rights to some, especially again, the idea is that the originator has died 70 years ago. If somebody owns a house, this was the second thing I was going to say. If I build a house, and it becomes public property, say the government acquires it, okay, then it becomes the government. When it becomes public property, after maybe I've long gone, my family, we lived in the house, we made memories in the house. Even my grandchildren have left, they've even forgotten the house. In terms of trying to balance public good and private good, the idea is that if somebody needs this house, they should probably be able to access it without having, because the use that we created it for, we've long exhausted it. Do you get so the idea I'm trying to paint is just to say that right now where things are, in terms of balancing private and public good, IP is not the IP system is not designed to favor only creators. It is for the good of everyone.
So that's actually my point. Is that good part, not even the creator. So recently, Netflix made Avatar and changed a whole lot of the stories. Now for someone that is just like 14, 13, 12 years old, who is watching Avatar for the first time, will have that story in their head. But you, like a millennial that watched the very original one, knew the original story. So I'm looking at a situation where there were things that really helped us growing up and we learned a lot from, and we want our kids to also watch the same stuff and learn from it.
Keep
as
it in
well.
the
And this time around, the stories have been changed, and that's that new one they're watching. I wanted my boys to watch Lion King recently, and what I could lay my hands on before I could finally even find the original one was the one that was the live action one. And there were lots of things wrong with the story. So I ended up not letting them watch that one until I find the original one that I watched growing up that I loved. I will let you watch this.
But the owners were okay with them changing it.
It's
we that we have sentimental attachment.
There's so many moral things that is wrong with it.
The owner was okay with
it. Even human beings, we go bad. Even human beings, we go bad. The guy was good in 1981. He's a bad guy now.
So, but inspiration is still
just like
Spider-Man. So, Winnie after lasting for 150 years, became bad. And started killing people. Because that's what happens to us as human beings. So, you can't even stop it.
No, but I think I think it's a very valid point, and it's something that should be taken into. And you never know, to be honest. I keep trying to hammer that the IP system is evolving. I keep saying it's a human system. Evolving, it has this thing. It's just the sense. The principle is just trying to just balance things to be sure that you don't just have something that is created and can really be, I mean, people can monetize it. So let's use the Winnie the Pooh example again. Say for example, I can earn a little bit by printing Winnie the Pooh t-shirts. 5 years ago, I would probably have had to pay good money to be able to have that license to do it. But now I don't. So I can earn from the good, just the character, that entity. Unfortunately, not everybody is a good person and might want to use it for bad. But the idea is, so because of that bad person, or how do we wait? Can we allow some people be able to gain a little bit? Or let's throw it back to the music idea. Say there's what's that thing that they call, what's that skeleton of a beat? The stems. So these things probably cost quite a bit, but there's one that if you have it, what you can do with it, you can really create some good magic with it. But you are, fresh out of school, you're a new musician, you don't have so much. But this can help you create some good magic. The IP system is trying to say, after a while, let this thing be available for other. Remember, I said creativity is a chain, it doesn't stop. What was created is what is used to create new things. But if we hold it and we just lock it and say, you must only have this premium before you can use this, we block what has led to human evolution up till now. You can't continue the cycle of creation if we just hold something and say no. There's no point. Unfortunately, not everybody creates good things. Some people make bad things, but that's a choice of what to create. The power to create should be available to everybody.
Sorry, let me say something to that.
Okay, sorry, before he wanted to ask, I think he wanted to ask. Okay. Please, Julian, if you at any point you want to throw.
So the example you gave on Lion King, for example, the question I would ask is, so who decides what's good? In the sense who said, I'm going to
philosophical.
It's a problem. Your problem with the new Lion King is good.
It's sentiment.
It's from moral standpoint.
Yeah.
It's a sentimental problem.
Yeah.
You feel it. The new one is not good enough. Something is wrong with you. But who decides it?
Yeah.
So how do you police those?
Yeah.
So it's a really tricky.
Who even says the other one was not racist?
Exactly.
Why was we not black? Why was he yellow? I feel racially slighted by the yellow thing. Okay.
So, my name is David. This is just like falls under copyright and music as well. So, you mentioned that creating content is like a chain. So we cannot agree that people can tap into what other people created. So now let's take a scenario where you try to tap into something. Let's say maybe the beat, like a sample of, just like the case some maybe legendary person that did something and then you're trying to create something out of it. Rappers do it a lot, like mixtapes and stuff. So let's say you've successfully created something and you feel like it's magic and everything. And then I want to know where you stand legally. In a case where you are trying to contact the original creators and they are not responding. So I don't know where such person stands legally.
Sorry, let me say something that answered that. What I wanted to say earlier.
You've tried to contact every way you could. You've talked to the management, they said they'll get back to you, they didn't get back to you. You've contacted via Instagram, text message.
I think it's the no.
Oh, but let me just, I'll just use, before he speaks, I'll just use an example to, that maybe will help to answer the question. It's a legal question, but, you know, I'll just say that, for example, if if I'm walking along this road, and I see a land, and I look at the environment, I'm like, I can do a restaurant here, and I'll cash out. In fact, I have the picture of my menu, I know what I can serve. Just opposite, there's this kind of, there's even a school. This is perfect. I need this land. And I look. I don't find who, I've gone to Ministry of this, I've gone everywhere. I can't find who owns this. Let's talk, let's negotiate. Don't worry, I'll pay you what you want. I feel this thing can do good. And I can't find him. If I say, I do find him, please let's build the restaurant. Will you agree for me? Property is still property, somebody's, whether or not I know who it is.
Okay, sorry, but then it's not like, it's very tricky. It's not like it's totally their, how do I put it?
So like that's where the legal is, so that's a legal question. That would be a legal thing.
Part of it.
Yes.
So that's where the legal thing is.
Remove that part, that's what
So what I wanted to say
that
is
part
that
is
when people create things, they create it for the good of humanity. So whether it's science, it is inventions, you get the patents for your work. So you are going to get paid for it as long as you own the patent for it. With music too, it's the same thing. You own the intellectual property rights as long as you're alive. The same thing with movies too. Spider-Man, for example, there are 3 different versions. The one that Tobey Maguire acted in, the one that Andrew Garfield acted in, and Tom Holland. They are still all owned by Stan Lee. And yes, even though he's dead, Stan Lee, the creator of Marvel, even though he's dead, he still owns it until 75 years when it becomes free domain. Because that's the idea of inventions. We wouldn't get to where we are in the world if you hold on to things. That's why we get better, we improve every day in medicine, in arts, in science. So even, for example, if an anime company wanted to license it, they can license and make their own versions of Spider-Man. It's still going to, it still doesn't take the ownership away from Stan Lee. So any money they make from it is still going to get some of it. Then when it's over 75 years or wherever the laws are, then it becomes public domain until somebody else gets a patent for it, buys it again. Yes. So even popular songs, like the Happy Birthday song, it's even licensed by one of these, I can't remember if it's Universal, one of these big music production companies. They licensed it. So if you have an event where you are singing that happy birthday to you, that we all sing, and you are getting paid from maybe YouTube, you post a YouTube video and you are getting paid, they are going to get some percentage of it because you use their song, which they own the copyrights to. So that's how it works.
Okay.
I want to give him an example that is close to home that everybody can easily see. Burna Boy licensed just a track from Tony Braxton. Just the tune and just how is it hard to just the rhythm alone. A sample. That was the only thing. And I think she gets 80%. Is it 60% of that? So it doesn't matter, even if it's a small beat or a sound, you need to pay for it.
Okay, so let's start this. We have been asked to vacate premises, but I want to just kind of tie it all together so that we because everybody, I guess people here at different points in the whole IP knowledge journey, and it's okay. For some people, this is like first time. Some others, you've read and you know a lot about it. Bottom line, remember, I try to use analogies as much as I can. The idea is that to make sure that before you invest in creating, do all you can to guard yourself. And that's where legal help comes in, okay? Get your legal help, okay? Do all that you can. Don't just go about doing your creativity thinking that, the universe will favor you. Make sure that you take the effort. It is as much as the same way you take an effort. If you want to run a music business, if you're an artist, you probably will get a talent manager or somebody to help with those administrative parts. You can't be managing bookings and be writing songs, right? You go and look for somebody to help you, and you ask your community, at least, do you know somebody who can do this or all of that? If you want to run a branding business, you probably would hire a business manager or an accountant at the very least, because you say like, I don't know so much about books, I need a professional. And it's the same way, take the aspect of your IP seriously, okay? But don't just seek legal help. You grow in your knowledge capacity. You need to understand that what you are creating, remember the story I started with, Ali's story. The only problem the guy had was that he couldn't recognize what he had on his mind. And so you are probably sitting on, that thing you worked on last night, you don't know what the value is. But he does not need to go and do 1 year course on how to recognize and collect diamond.
It's right there.
It's right there. Just who will help me see it, help me mine it. Okay, get help, get all the professional help that you need. Finally, please, with the permission of Mswitch, because we want to make sure that we are bringing IP to Nigerians, we always like to collect some kind of feedback in sessions like this. Okay, because we want to be sure that we are actually helping you. Okay, we are helping you get the most out of you of the IP system that you can acknowledge all of that. So if you don't mind, while we're here or before we go, this is a short feedback. Okay, we want to know how helpful this knowledge is. And so when next Mswitch is calling us again, this can be better. We can help with better knowledge. Now we know this is where you are. We have a better idea of the biggest problems, and then we can keep helping ourselves get better in this IP journey. I personally think that IP is the untapped resource of Nigeria. It's where maybe this is what will make us hit. We have so much creativity, but there's nobody showing us how to use it, right? And that's why WIPO is here. Okay, so please, bit.ly, what's my own? The first words are the first letters of each of the words are in capital. What's my own? Short survey form. Please fill it so that we can actually help you better. Thank you very much. It's been a really wonderful time.
Please, another round of applause for Carol. So I'm literally just running away, but she said something about she said she wanted to make sure that the information that she gave us was useful. I don't want to wait until you guys do that. I want to know if it was useful now. So I just want to see, how they say that in this generation, it takes about 30 minutes before a person loses their attention span? I hope that was not the case. So I want to see, in the first 30 minutes, what were you guys able to grasp? What did you forget? What you found fruitful? But I'm not going to let you tell me. I want Debbie to find out. It's an exam. Yes. So please, Debbie, help me.
Okay, on that note, who's ready for a trivia session? Make some noise! No, that's not the vibe I'm looking for. Make some noise! I don't know whether you're booing me or you're shouting. Okay, so this session is what I call patent, trademark, or copyright. So basically, we've had everything. Ty, amazing session. Please, another round of applause. Ty sat here for more than 30 minutes and gave code and half. So this session is called patent, trademark, or copyright. So how it's going to go is, I say something, you tell me if it's a patent, if it's trademark, or if it's a copyright. And then someone will be keeping record of the scores, and the winner gets something juicy. Let's just take that out. Okay, who's ready? Okay.
Fatima, are you ready? is like the creative steez.
Everybody maintains steez and composure. Alright.
Composure and all of that.
So the first one is, I hope we're ready. The first one, the design of the iPhone. Patent, copyright, or trademark?
Once upon a time.
I'll go
Lift your
again.
hands.
No.
Or stand up.
Yeah.
Trademark.
She said trademark.
Patent.
Patent. Who else?
Trademark.
You just take 4 answers. 4 answers. So she said patent. We got 1 answer.
You mentioned trademark.
Trademark, patent. Okay.
You said the iPhone.
What's your name? Yes. Design of the iPhone. What's your name?
Fail.
Sorry?
Fail.
Phil.
Fail.
Please, can you?
Fail.
Fail. Okay, Fail has 1 point, guys. Well, I would have called you, but he said this first. Alright. So the next. Alright. The Star Wars movie franchise. What's the answer? You're going to tell me if it's trademark, copyright. The Star Wars movie franchise.
Copyright.
No, you guys cannot do. You can't do that. I have to pick you first.
Copyright.
Copyright. Who else?
Copyright.
It goes to him. Okay, next. The layout of the Google search results page. If you know the answer, raise up your hands or forever remain silent. The design of the Coca-Cola bottle. Yeah, yes?
Use the Coca-Cola to
Google Sheets. Google Sheets. Google search results. He said patent. Because he's right. Please can we normalize giving around the calculation? Your name? Francis. Did you give him your name too? Okay, cool. Okay.
Sorry, are you sure that it's actually patent? No, I'm not sure.
Yes, it is.
It's not even, I think it's industrial design.
The layout of the Google search results. The layout of the Google search results.
Oh, you mentioned Coca-Cola.
No, that was the first. That was before.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, this one, I feel like this one is a bonus question. The song "He Wasn't Man Enough" by Tony Braxton. Okay, Mr. Lawyer. Copyright is right. Your name. So, moving forward, how fast you raise your hand determines how fast I pick you. So, if you don't raise yours, you get it. Alright, this one should be easy. Shegbe!
First raise the hand.
What? Correct. Trademark.
Shegbe, is it the word?
Yes. So trademark could be sound, logo, anything that basically that makes people know who you are without you saying who you are. Okay, moving on. We can have the argument later. The television series Game of Thrones. Huh, it's too fast. Okay, the software algorithm used by Netflix. I did not share my questions with anybody because it's looking like okay. He got it. Let's say just the character design of Mickey Mouse. No, I refuse.
You said how fast somebody else.
Okay,
This two said how fast.
too fast. Sorry?
No.
Huh?
The lawyer is
Character design.
It's a character design. It says character design.
The character design of Mickey Mouse. What do you think? Okay, another person?
Copyright. Just choose your winner, no worries.
It's a trademark.
It's a trademark. Oh. Nobody got it right.
Okay, I think we're done with trivia. We have tried. Enough is enough.
Wow.
So moving on. So I have two more questions from this session. Hello everyone. Can I have your attention please? We have 2 questions from Ty's session. I just want to know how many of us actually paid attention to what she was saying. Do you want to have the session? Okay. Alright. Who are the safeguards for creative rights and use? Who safeguards creative rights and the use of those creative products or properties?
Who safeguards the...
Yes. Who safeguards creative rights and use? He raised up his hand.
It's a very broad question. It just requires explanation.
Hmm?
Lawyers know use the law. It's a guardian law.
Professor, sir.
No, really.
That's not the answer I want.
No.
You need a draft law.
According to, you know, if
Is it the law?
no, who are the safeguards? What are they called? The safeguards for creative rights and for the use of those rights, of those products.
We have options.
Creators.
Collective management organization.
Correct. He got it. What's your name? Did you Google?
Sorry, what's your name?
What's your name?
What did he answer?
His name is Jay.
Collective
Management Organization.
Yeah.
You were in the same class. A round of applause for Jay, please. Alright, now this one should be quite easy. How long does it take you to lose your related rights to an intellectual property?
50 years.
Okay, so who's according to the polling result, Ainek, over to you. Ainek, come over here, Ainek. Don't hide yourself.
So, okay, let me come like this. Let me know. Let's do this. What should work? Thank you guys. Hi everybody. Okay, so just so you know, there was no cheating, right? The first round, I have Feyo, Ekene, Francis, and Obinaya. Please stop for them now. For the second round, I have again Francis, Obinaya, Francis. Okay. And for the last round, we have Jay and Kilda. So the winner for this is Mr. Francis.
Alright, so Francis goes on with 2 vouchers. So a voucher gives you 50% of the use of our creative space. So he has 2 vouchers. Thank you everyone for the session. You guys have said that enough. You guys can now proceed to network. We have shared the best grades. We'll be back after this session for a beautiful final session.
Alright, so how many of you guys enjoyed that session?
Come on now.
Which of the session? The first one or this one?
This session.
I enjoyed it.
How many of you enjoyed the session? How many of you enjoyed Taiwo's session?
Enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy it? I saw like today was a serious debate. I'm happy because I didn't see anybody dozing off, and that's a big deal. Creatives are known to be a little laid back, so today I was like, standing in attention.
Yeah, I've lost a lot
And
of
for
money,
me,
so they
that's-
know what IP is all about.
That's really great. So we want to play something for you very quickly. And then after we played it, I want to explain it to you guys just a little bit, right? So can I have your attention just for that bit of time, right? I'd like to do like cinema style, but I think for technical purposes and stuff, I think we can all see, yeah? Micah, when you're ready, please. Is there sound? Pause until there's sound, please. Let's have sound. TV is muted. Please give full
Went out last night with a couple friends. Did a couple shots and we're recording in my ends. It's 12 a.m. and I'm drunk texting you.
No, this sound is supposed to come from, I think it's coming from the TV, not from that.
Would you like to come out for drinks? Drinks, drinks on me. Drinks on drinks, drinks, it's drinks on me.
technology is not my thing. I'm a creative, not a techie. But anyway, I think I just want us to buff this for you guys, and then we'll come back and take a look at it. But one of the reasons why I wanted to share this with you is, how many of you guys know the lady in the video? Oh, she's a big deal, huh? Who is she? Money. But the beautiful thing about that is she comes from y'all. She's a creative. Her video was shot at Mswitch. The video was shot at Mswitch. I thought you guys were you understand? So one of the reasons, like I said, why is because we put ourselves in a position where we take on the responsibility of nurturing creative talents. It is not like a thing where we're like, okay, we saw something that we can make money off. No. We have dedicated ourselves to taking on the responsibility of nurturing creative talent in Nigeria. So if someone like Amani comes in and says, you know what, this is my concept, this is what I want to do, how does Mswitch partner with me and help me, you know, wrap my stuff and wrap my work around a standard or a level? And that is where we come in. It was shot at Mswitch. So some of you guys that have been looking for spaces to say, well, I don't have a space to record, I don't have a space to shoot a music video. In fact, Micah, where's Micah? Sorry. Or Spontaneous, where kids is, where's the song? Can you play the song, rather? I hope you will not fall my hand.
About to be connected.
Actually, by the way, how's my accent doing? I've been learning Pidgin like a lot lately. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you guys think I'm doing? I just said, don't fold my hand. Oh. I'm not trying. I literally just said, don't fold my hand. I did try. Right? So whether you write, you are a scripter, whether you act, whether you sing, whether you dance, whether you rap, whether you are more comfortable behind the camera like Mr. Jackson, you know, all of that, whether you are into production like Charity, whether you are into sound design like Okay, there is a place for all of you guys here. One of the reasons why I continue to tag it, because internally we had a bit of a debate about calling it an open house, is because we want you guys to understand that this is your home, right? This is your home. Have you ever done those things where you've had a bad day and you're like, oh, I wish I could talk to my mom or my dad? Where do you go? Where do you go? Why? Because home is? I like what he said. He said home is Mswitch. I was going to say where the heart is, but that's a new one. Home is Mswitch. You know what I'm trying to say? And that is why we want to partner with you guys. We want to help you guys upscale. We want to be the place that you guys can turn to when you are in a need. It's not for free, or it's not a free need, but we try and just partner together and work together and make sure that the right things are done. So it's one of those things where after you come into Mswitch and we put in the work, we partner you guys with people like WIPO to make sure that after we've done good work together, you don't lose your work. You own your work. You know, you beat your chest and say, I did that, I own that, right? Micah, is he ready? Yes. You're not folding my hands. Don't mind the, just listen, don't mind the video, listen.
No ordinary being, yeah, I'm building up, I'm building tough, and they like the way I switch it up. Can you handle when I switch it up? Can you handle when I switch it up? No ordinary being, yeah, I'm building up, I'm building tough, and they like the way I switch it up. Can you handle when I switch it up? Yeah. Can you handle when I switch it up?
I'm here now, in a different gear now, no fear now. Got a name that they all wanna tear down. I came down with a weight, my niggas get paid, this gang. Play with the heat, them boys get tanned. Back to nine, drop part of the plan. Road is crazy, I don't take pictures, just make names and switches, switch locations, switch the vibe, switch it when I need to ride, then book a flight. Hit the booth, I hit record. You hear the chords, and switch where I feel at home. I'm in my zone.
Switch it up, I'm switching, switch it up.
space. And what did they say? Mswitch will switch it up, right? We are here for you. You understand? And I think we wanted to play a few things for you guys to just understand the kind of work that comes out of Mswitch, the kind of commitment and dedication we put to make sure that you guys come out with quality. Not just the fact that you guys were here and you did, work, something that you guys can take back and use it to sell yourselves, to market yourselves and say, this is my work. Right? Yeah. Are we all right? Yeah. Are we okay? Yeah. Can we just stand up for a moment, just like do like this? So yes, again, we're just going to take a bit of a recess. Don't go, because the next session that we have is another session, and this session is with Juliana from WIPO, and then we've got Cynthia from Founders Friday. So some of you guys that are asking yourselves, well, I don't want to belong to somebody, I'm an entrepreneur. How does WIPO work for me as a creative in the in the entrepreneurial space? Cynthia has got you covered. Juliana is trying to do her thing right there, and then that session is going to be moderated by our very own Charity. So because we love you, I don't want you guys to go home and say, oh no, a stage that they didn't feed us, but I want your stomachs and respects. So we've got a few things for you guys just to eat. It'll take about 10-15 minutes, and then from there, we're going to come back and have a session with Juliana and Cynthia and Charity, and then from there, we're going to do a tour. Because I know that some of you guys have never been to Mswitch. You've seen us on social, but I promise you, the real thing is better than what you see on social media. So we want you guys to have a taste and look and feel. If you want to try out a bit of our spaces, you can go ahead and do that. Say something through the mic. Let's see how you guys actually sound. Let's see that steez for real, right? So please just very quickly at the back. Let's start with our guests. Where is let's have Juliana. Let's have Cynthia and Taiwo. Let them go first, and then from there, please, everybody go ahead and have something for yourselves. Don't eat and go. Let your stomachs have respect. Eat and then come back and sit down, and then continue with the sessions, right? Thank you so much.
Well, you guys are just really too fast, right?
Yeah.